Coming up, we'll tell you if we're impressed by Manny Pacquiao's win this weekend. And 1 hour from now, we'll revisit our first SFY Vegas pool party.
Oh, Lord.
But we start with Odell Beckham Jr.
Do it.
The Cleveland Browns superstar receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is a victim of the cruel, unfair, and racist media. You don't believe me? Read the Q&A he did with GQ magazine that was published this morning. In it, OBJ whines about absolutely everything. He compares his on-field passion to Tom Brady's and insinuates there's a racial double standard in how they're perceived. OBJ says Hall of Fame football players turned commentators Chris Carter and Ray Lewis are two-faced because they treat him warmly in person and mildly criticize him when they're on TV. OBJ says black gossip websites speculate about his sexuality and suggest that he's gay. He said, quote, "It makes it worse when it comes from the black community. I feel like everything is a double standard. You want us to support the black community, and then you go out and bash black people for being happy? So someone can't be happy? Someone can't be dancing? Oh, he's always around guys. He's never around girls. I just don't want you to see what woman I'm with, and I don't want you in my personal life. I always try to keep my personal life my personal life. I feel like I don't owe that to anybody." OBJ is a human Twitter feed. His reality is shaped by social media, and nearly every answer he gave in this Q&A is the kind of shallow response you'd find on a typical Twitter thread. There's no nuance, and there's even less substance. He comes off like the typical 25-year-old going through their identity crisis. We all go through it. What's different now is that we share the random empty thoughts that pass through our brain for the world to witness. People like OBJ used to keep diaries. We wouldn't know how shallow and insecure they are until death. Now it's all broadcast over Instagram and Twitter, and now that the mainstream media are addicted to social media traction, magazines like GQ publish clickbait Q&As where young men like OBJ can claim victim status. In my opinion, Julio Jones is a better receiver than OBJ. You don't see the media hounding Julio. You know why? Because Julio doesn't want it and doesn't ask for it. Neither does DeAndre Hopkins. Life is a series of choices and consequences. OBJ made the choice to be the center of attention. He wanted to be on stage, wear one glove, and moonwalk. Joe Jackson didn't drag OBJ on stage and make him sing and dance. OBJ is Madonna, the material boy who chose to fly close to the sun because he craved the spotlight. It's hot up there, bro. Don't blame the media for the temperature. You chose to get in the oven. All right, joining the desk now, Fox NFL analysts Reggie Bush and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Marcellus, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Media unfair to OBJ.
No, they're not. And I understand what that connotation, what it means in terms of, like, is it perfect treatment? No. Is it unfair treatment? No. Is it ideal? No. This is a guy that has to understand the machinery that he's dealing with, which is the media. Grandma always says, once you call for attention, you can't hang up, baby. And there was a time where you wanted attention. I was that type of player. I know what it is. You know,
Everybody
wanted it. I wanted the smoke that came with it. And then some of my teammates who were a little more responsible, who were a little more foresight, were like, that comes at a cost. And that's going to come with exaggeration to the negative things you do when they occur. And you just got to know that. But when it's good, it's great. I'm going to say this. It's natural to want attention, but be careful when that warps into you needing approval. And I learned that the right and hard way. When you start talking about all this noise and you start to parse through that and start to need approval, why don't they allow me? They do. They are witnessing you. They're watching you. Some are criticizing you. Many are supporting you. But once you start going through that and start to look at the opposites, those who say the cons against you, and start needing that approval, you're going to get lost in your own and be a prisoner of your own success. That's where he is.
And I think, to OBJ's point, you have to be willing to accept how much you put yourself out there, right, on the social media side. So, you know, for guys like OBJ, Cam Newton, I think social media has driven our younger athletes to be more focused on their brand than maybe their respective sport first, right? Because you can still work hard and not be all in, right, with your teammates, right? To me, one of the guys that I got a chance to be around, Drew Brees, who was all in and was a leader on the field. I used to try to beat him into the locker rooms, into the facilities my rookie year. I would show up at 6 a.m. It'd be one car in the parking lot. It'd be Drew's car. And so to that point, what I'm making is that you can be all in and still not give the proper production on the field. But it also, there's going to have to be some give and take as well. I guess what I'm trying to
I mean, for me, it's like, it's what you, everybody wants the attention. You have to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And that, because you have 13 million followers on Instagram, and that's because of the way the media has treated you. And I would say it's more good than bad.
Of course.
When you lose and you put yourself out there, then it's going to be, you just have to take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, they're talking bad about me. That doesn't mean they don't like you.
Right.
They're just stating what they perceive to be the facts. And I said this, when you need other people to validate how you feel about yourself, I don't care how you feel about me. I might not like that you're criticizing me, but that's not going to control how I go about my day and how I feel.
Yeah.
And so when the media treats you well, it's great. You love them. But when they say something negative about you, it's, oh, what are they? No, you just got to deal with both. You got to take the good with the bad.
He says he wants to keep his personal life. I don't really buy it.
Yeah.
And I'll say this because he's on the cover of GQ magazine, and he's addressing y'all know far better than I do. No, you don't, because I'm a journalist too. So we both know. We both know. These things are negotiated in terms of when you're on the cover of a magazine, the questions that are going to be asked, the topics that are going to be addressed. That's all decided beforehand.
Right.
He's talking about his sexuality and how websites and stuff treat. He's just feeding the machine more. There's going to be more conversation. And so I don't buy this that, oh, I'm unfairly treated. I want to keep my private life. No. You just did an interview that gave everybody the reason, the justification to talk about your private life and virtually anything they want to talk about you.
Say it, man. A lot of this is selective perception. A lot of this is psychology 101. What are you paying attention to? What are you concerned with? We are all guilty of this one. Trust me. You put a post up there, get 10,000 likes. You got 38 people hating on it.
Yeah.
You got 10,000 people saying, I love this.
Yeah.
And guess what you will respond to?
The 38.
One of them 38s. What a 38? Like, what's up, dog? Let's go to war. And it's crazy. We all get caught up in this. Odell needs to understand. Ain't that true?
I do that all the time.
When it's great,
I do the same
it's
thing.
sweeter, bro. Odell is an amazing dude. I love Odell as a person and what I've heard of him as a teammate. I got one example. ESPYs, a few years ago, I'm sitting there working. Odell, when he comes in, it's kind of LeBron-like. You see the smoke and the storm and the dust kick up and the
crowd of
entourage.
people.
The crowd, everything changes. It's a climate change.
Yeah.
And then he walks through. And then my daughter, she loves sports. She's a track athlete at UConn. One player sits at the top of that pyramid. OBJ. I'm like, I am not going through that firestorm to go get OBJ's attention. It may not happen. You know what? Long story short, lock eyes. He's like, what's up, man? How you doing? My daughter, man, you make her life. People pushing him. Literally, publicists, go, Odell. He's like, got to give him a moment. Took a picture of my daughter. This is something that he does countless in terms of what he's done for his teammates and looking out. But he has to understand, with the good comes the bad, and they're going to pour it on heavy when things are not in their favor.
And people always ask me, if you could go back and change one thing about your career, what would that be? The one thing I would go back and change is paying attention too much to what I thought people thought about me. Because the more I bought into it, the more it affected me. And the times where it was bad, it was 10 times bad because I allowed it to live through me, right? And it came out on the football field or at home. I was one of the worst people to be around. So that's why I always tell guys is football is what you do. It's not who you are. Yeah. And the faster you can understand that, the faster you just won't care about the things that people are saying about.
The type of recognition and acclaim that OBJ had, he's one of the few.
Right.
And so luckily it wasn't around, but you take the good with the bad, man. Like what you said, your daughter wanted that picture, as my girls do as well, because of what the media has built him up to be. And you like that adulation and that recognition.
Take that
so
love.
deal with don't worry about the 38 dislikes in the back.
Unreal.
That is the truth.
Unreal.
You know,